Hello everyone and welcome back to another math video. Today we're going to be looking at how to add and subtract like terms. This is commonly referred to as combining like terms. Just a reminder, this is the short version of this lesson, so we're going to go pretty quickly just through the main ideas. If you want a full-length lesson where we go step by step with lots of examples, I will link that in the description below. Before attempting this video, you should already know how to add and subtract positive and negative numbers, or else have a calculator that can do that for you. If you need a refresher on those topics, I will link those in the description. All right, let's see how this works. So combining like terms, we're going to use what's called the SLAP method. All right, and SLAP stands for same letters and powers, right? SLAP, same letters and powers. So let's see how this works with, here's our problem over here on the right-hand side. Let's start with the highest exponent. So the highest exponent that I see in this problem is 7d to the second power, all right? And it will combine, this is called combining like terms, right? So it will combine if we find another term in the problem that has a d to the second power, right? It has to have the same letter and power. So do I have another d to the second power in the problem? I do. It's right here. Okay, this minus 2d to the second power. And to combine them, what you do is you only look at the numbers in the front, called the coefficients, the big number in the front, right? And what it's saying is 7 minus 2. Well, 7 minus 2, if I combine those, I get 5d to the second power. Notice that the letter and exponent did not change. The only number that changes is the coefficient or the big number in the front. Okay? I'm going to cross off these so that I know I've worked with them. And we'll do a different color here to make it really, really easy to see. Now let's keep going. What's the next? Let's go down. So what's the next lowest letter? Well, this is 4d to the first power. This is d to the first power, right? There's an invisible 1 there, so these can combine. And just a short reminder that there's no number here, but remember there's an invisible big 1 in the front. So then we do what it says. 4 plus 1 is 5d. Okay, and I'm going to cross them off because I know I've combined them. And the last thing in the problem is just normal numbers, right? And we've been working with normal numbers for a long time. So these will combine just like normal numbers always do. 6 plus 1 is 7, final answer. Okay? And something to note here, some students want to say, well, can I combine this and this? You cannot combine them, right? Because they have to have the same letter and the same power. These have the same letter, but not the same exponent. Okay? All right, for this problem, this has nothing to combine with, so bring it down. This is plus 1d minus 1d, so this and this will combine. And what's interesting here is positive 1 minus 1, those are opposites, right? 1 minus 1 is 0. So this is technically going to 0d. And we do not put that in our answer, right? 0 times anything is just 0. It's nothing, so let's not put it. And then combine our normal numbers like normal, negative 7 plus 8. Important to note that this is a negative 7 with the minus sign in front of it. So negative 7 plus 8 is positive 1. This is our final answer. Okay, I do not know how you learned this concept. There are a variety of ways to be taught and learn it. But whenever I see these double symbols, this plus minus or minus minus, I tell students to get rid of it first. Okay, make the problem easier on yourself. So a plus minus is just minus. So all I did here was change the plus minus to a minus. And then you just do your normal process, right? I can combine negative 3k squared, negative 2k squared, and 8k squared. Okay, negative 3 minus 2 is negative 5. Negative 5 plus 8 is 3k squared. Cross them off so that we know we've used them. Then I can combine 9k and 6k. 9k minus 6k is positive 3k. Cross them off. And the only thing left in the problem is the minus 8, and this is our final answer. All right, last two. For this problem, these cannot combine, right? This is a regular 8, and this is a 9m. right? They do not have the same letter, right? One of them has a letter, one of them does not. And so if there's nothing to combine, then your answer is just how it started. Okay, just rewrite the problem. Don't change anything. For this problem on the right, double letters follow the same rule as single letters, which means they have to still have the same letters and the same powers. So for example, this is 10w to the third x to the third. Well, do I have another w to the third x to the third? I do, right? It's here. And this is saying 10 minus 10, which is just 0, right? And we said if it's 0, we don't put it into our answer. So we can cross those off. And now, u to the third, v to the third, u to the third, v to the third, u to the third, v to the third. These can all combine, right? So 7 minus 2 is 5, 5 minus 2 is 3. So my final answer is 3u to the third, v to the third. Final answer. All right, here's our cool clock for today, which means that it is time for you to practice what you just learned. Go ahead and pause the video and try these 4 problems on your own. And when you're ready, you can unpause the video and we'll check your answers. Okay, now that you've had time to work these problems, let's check your solutions. For the first problem, there is the work and the final answer. For the second problem in the top right, here is the final answer. All of those can combine. So you just go from left to right and it gives you 4w to the second power x. For this third problem in the bottom left, those cannot combine, so just leave them as it is. That's the final answer. And for number 4 here in the bottom right, here is the work. Should have gotten rid of the double symbols first. And then when you combine your like terms, you get 2v to the second power minus 10v minus 11. All right, that is it for today. I hope you all have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.